And more safe racing as well. That's huge. We talked earlier about P.D. Cunningham, 7th championship he won last year. He is more than any other driver connected to the Pirelli World Challenge Championship. We needed to have a visit with him. He is now with our Jeff Lepper. Jeff?
Well, we had a dream season for sure last year, right from the beginning with the new V6 program. A little better of a weapon to compete against these V8 cars and these forced induction cars. So it just worked out. We only won 2 races, but we had good finishes throughout the rest of the year, and that's what it takes to win the points championship. So good for Acura, good for real time, and it doesn't hurt for me to notch another championship either.
Team manager Nathan Minot told me earlier, he said it was so nice to just massage the cars this year instead of making a huge sea change to them. Let's take a look at our Motul Pole Award winners in GTS. Andy Lee, as we mentioned, another pole, great momentum. Something about that car, and this track, it just works incredibly well. And in GT, it is the remarkable Alex Figge. Only in his second full season of racing and has shown remarkable speed in that K-Pax Volvo, and he gets the Motul Pole Award, obliterating the old track record as Andy Lee did in GTS. Things continue to rock and roll here in World Challenge. And that's exactly what Johnny O'Connell hopes will happen again this year. In only his second season in the Pirelli World Challenge, he won his first championship. The sports car legend is back once again with the machine that is Cadillac, and he's with Jeff Lepper.
When I moved from Corvette over to Cadillac, there was only, one option, and that was to win championships. The first year I was really stoked because we finished second the first year. We won it last year. Now as we look into our third season, we've got a lot of challenges. Different manufacturers are involved. Audi is here. You got a very sweet Mercedes. You've got, and you know what? Again, like often happens in the off season, there's adjustment of rules. So, we know we have our work cut out for us. We won a championship without the fastest car last year, and I'm hoping that my wisdom and skill will pay off once again.
And there are the Cadillacs out on parade. And by the way, it's time for our Cadillac Key Corners, and we're going to hop on board with Johnny and some great new looks from one of our new partners for the series, GoPro.
St. Petersburg, Florida. It's where the World Challenge starts the season, and these are going to be the Cadillac CTSV Key Corners. We're on the straightaway now. We're up in the 6th gear, hard on the brakes, and down in the 2nd gear for turn 1. Difficult, a lot of paint that you run over there. Up in the 3rd gear for turn 2. We really start hauling in the 4th gear for turn 3. Very fast corner, everything's right. It's flat out. Up in the 5th gear as we go into turn 4, then boom, 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 down in the 2nd gear for turn 4. This is a really fun part of the racetrack. Point and squirt. Accelerate hard here through 6. Up in the 3rd gear, break down in the 2nd for turn 8. We bring it nice and tight to the wall and let it run out close to the wall. Turn 9, important corner because we're coming up to a long straightaway here. 3rd gear, 4th gear. Again, these Cadillac CTSV Key Corners, the kink right there, it is one of them. Everything is right. It's done flat in 5th gear, but now we come into turn 10. We change down in the 2nd gear. Great overtaking area, but again, coming up to another very fast part of the racetrack. 11 and 12 done in 4th gear. You're flying in there, touching the brakes for 12. Okay, then hard on the brakes for the last corner on the racetrack. Very tight but important because you need to get a good exit out of here to go up the gearbox, accelerate all the way up into 6th gear as you once again pass start finish. St. Petersburg, we love starting our season here.
And there's why. Look at that setting. It is absolutely spectacular. When we come back, we'll get round 1 of the Pirelli World Challenge, the St. Petersburg Sports Car Challenge, presented by Stop Tech, underway. Don't go anywhere. Today's coverage of the Pirelli World Challenge Championships is being brought to you by Sunoco Race Fuels, fueling victories for 5 decades. By the Cadillac V-Series, the 556 horsepower CTS-V coupe, sedan, and wagon, the world's fastest family of cars. And by Pirelli, power is nothing without control. Welcome back to the St. Petersburg Sports Car Challenge, presented by Stop Tech, an absolutely glorious setting, and really one of the better street courses I think that you can come across. The way it's designed, the layout, the location, everything about it's great. But Calvin Fish, there is one area of this track that is huge, and that is our Motul braking zone.
Yeah,
Yeah, the Motul braking zone here at St. Petersburg is turn 1. Cars are at top speed down the front straightaway, and it utilizes the airport runway, so it's very wide and invites an attack down the inside. But you're hard on the brakes and down to second gear, so it has to be managed. St. Pete is tough on the brakes. You don't get the same cooling here with the tight confines and a street circuit that are lined with walls, so it'll be fun to watch. I'm sure we're going to see plenty of action down here in this red zone.
We always do, and it's sometimes what happens after that red zone that gets very interesting. There is a look as the grid, the field is ready to go, and that means it is time for us to officially get the season underway with our command. Here's Rafael Navarro of Pirelli.
On behalf of our friends at Optima Batteries and Stop Tech Brakes, Pirelli Tire North America, drivers, start your engines!
What a glorious moment that is as the orchestra of all these different instruments from around the world come to life and the symphony begins for a new season. Gotta love it. That beautiful Cadillac pace car is about to set sail and lead this field around, and that means it is time for us to tell you who's in the field. And as we said, it's a biggie. The front row swept by the K-Pax Volvos, Alex Figge and teammate Randy Popes. Absolutely quick. That's got to be a bit foreboding for the rest of the field. We go to row 2. It's Ryan Dial in that Privacy Star Entrust True Speed Porsche, and James Safronis in the GMG Mobil 1 Audi R8 LMS. We move to row 3. Johnny O'Connell and Andy Pilgrim fill that role in those beautiful Cadillac Racing CTS VRs, and Johnny, of course, going for that next championship. Row 4, it's going to be Mike Skeen in the Hawk Performance Chevrolet Corvette, and one of the new cars, it's Tim Pappas in the Black Swan Mercedes AMG SLS. Row number 5, a couple of Audi R8s, Duncan Endy in the Standorg Merchant Services entry, and Brett Curtis in the United Steel Supply Spectre Resources car. Row number 6, Alex Welsh in another Audi R8 LMS. This is the Spider Lasso Global Motorsports Group entry, and Tim Bell, the rookie in the Hawk Performance Nissan GTR. Row number 7, Jeff Courtney in a new Audi for him, and the Kenda Rec Stuff machine, and Peter Lasafri in another of the Benzes, this one sponsored by Fusion World. And finally, it's Tommy Dreesy in the Internship Chevrolet Corvette, and Brandon Davis, who will do a start-in park in his Porsche.
Young Andy Lee, for the second year in a row, grabs the GTS pole in the Bondurant Crown 7 Best IT Camaro alongside the old Street Fighter himself, Jack Baldwin, the Motul StopTech Porsche Cayman. On row 11, it's another Porsche Cayman in the hands of Kevin Gleason. Next to him, two-time Series champ Lawson Archenbach in the Black Dog Speed Shop Camaro. The next row, it's 7-time Series champ P.D. Cunningham in his real-time Acura, and in the first of the 2 Kia Motors America Optimas, it's Mark Wilkins. On row 13, Alec Udell leads the Mustang contingent with the Motorsports Development Boss 302R, alongside Swede Nick Jonsson, who had boost issues in qualifying with the second of the Kias. Nick Asayan leads row 14 in the second of the real-time Acuras, and great to see former World Challenge champ Lou Gelati is back. On row 15, it's All-American Muscle with Dane Moxlow in the Trenton Forging Steeder Autosports Mustang, and Harry Curtin in the Best IT Camaro. And the next row, it's rookie Jim Taggart in the Lotus USA Taggart Autosport Lotus Assige, and Tony Gables in the second Black Dog Speed Shop Camaro. Row 17 is rookie Ernie Francis Jr. in the Hydraulic Jeans Chevy Camaro, and Rook Bichet in the SPL Pro Nissan 370Z. Sharing row 18, another rookie, Mitch Landry in the Versacrane Mustang 302S, and Brian Kleeman in the DXD Clutches Nissan 370Z. Rookie Drew Regeets in the Association Voice BMW M3 leads row 19 alongside Artie Topi's Ford Mustang. Next row is Brad Adams in the Voodoo Dat Dog Mustang 302S, and Bill Ziegler in the Swisher GMG Pontiac Solstice. And playing cleanup for the GTS field is Rich Golinello in the Grand Sanitation Ford Mustang. Now let's take a look at our quad box for the day, presented by Kia and featuring great footage from our partners from GoPro. We've got Rick Boucher in the GTS Nissan 370Z, Peter Lasafre in that beautiful new Mercedes-Benz AMG SLS, got Kevin Gleason in the GTS Cayman, and GT, James Safronis in that beautiful Audi R8.
And the field just about to come around and pick up the green. There's a look at the Cadillac Escalade, which is the new safety vehicle for the series. Very fortunate to have that exceptional vehicle doing that. The field now on the front straight. We're ready to get the season underway. Starters' eyes on the bridge. It's a rolling start for round 1. And the green flag flies. We are underway. It is the 2 Volvos up front. Watch for Dial to try and make a move down into that turn 1. It's the Motul braking zone. He looked, Calvin, but and he's a little squirrely.
He got in there so deep, he nearly got into the rear of Alex Figge. He gets away with it, but right now it's the 2 K-Pax Volvos out front.
Well, getting great launches as you would expect, but a great start by Johnny O'Connell as he got around Safronis, but at the same time, Skeen's Hawk Performance Corvette getting around Andy Pilgrim.
He is putting the pressure on Safronis, but look at Pilgrim really deep on the brakes down into turn 4. Skeen gives him some room, very smart.
Boy, these guys racing such close quarters, but keep in mind, it's the first race of the season. There's another race very soon after this one. You've got to be aggressive, but you got to temper that a little bit to have a race car for that second race. These guys are pros. Everybody's showing some good sense as well as great speed right now.
Absolutely. One thing to look out for in this race here today is that Alex Figge had a margin of over a half a second over his teammate Randy Popes in qualifying. That is substantial in this form of competition. Let's see how that plays out in the race today over a full race distance.
Yeah, anytime you out-qualify Randy in an equal car, it's good. Anytime you blow him away by half a second, that's just remarkable. And Randy's been honest about it. He said there's a couple of spots that Alex is just quicker than I am, and he said, I'm looking at his data, and I'm learning a few things. Great to hear that honesty.
It is, and it's great to have two teammates who are running a fast pace because you can learn. Look at Sofronis now in the Audi, looking to the inside, filling up Johnny O's mirrors, but not close enough to make a move.
Pilgrim doing the same to that Red Hawk Performance Corvette of Mike Skeen, just trying to stay in the mirrors and shake him up a little bit. Now, one of our very special awards is our Optima Batteries Best Start Award, and we want to let you know who it was in this one. It's been calculated, and yeah, 7-time champion Petey Cunningham, he knows how to launch, and he did it here. There he goes, making a move. That's Kevin Gleason's GTS Cayman. He had a great launch moving up. As you can see, 3 spots in that first lap in a very, very snug field in GTS. And that field is deep in GTS. And look at this, Nick Janssen in the red Kia coming up alongside rookie Landry. Looks like he's going to make the pass, Cal.
Now, Nick had qualified 8th, but had to start from the back of this GTS field because his car was late to the pre-grid. So he's storming through the field right now. Hasn't been the best of pre-season press for the Kia Optimas. They had some issues down at Sebring, had a wiring harness issue on one of the cars, caught fire to Mark Wilkins' car. So they come into St. Pete a little bit unknown in terms of what they have underneath them.
But as you can see, this field, as we talked about, it's deep in terms of numbers, deep in terms of teams and the preparation, and also great in terms of the drivers. And you got Nick Janssen in your mirrors like these guys do. You know you're in the wars right now. As we hop on board, that is the beautiful Nissan of Rick Boucher.
This is a really cool part of the racetrack, Greg. This very fast chicane, then hard on the brakes for turns 13. This long horseshoe corner, 13, 14. Then you get on the power hard on this wide open concrete runway here down towards our Motul braking zone in turn 1.
Boy, that was a great look back from Jim Taggart's Lotus, now back forward from Boucher, and here comes Janssen. Well, I tell you, these images from these GoPro cameras are spectacular. Look at this, Ernie Francis trying to get down underneath that Lotus, and that is Ernie Francis, 15 years old, youngest driver in the series in the hydraulic Gene Chevy Camaro, and now it's time for him to go to school as he's got Janssen coming around him.
Janssen's got that turbo power, which works great on these straightaways, but on a street circuit, a little bit of difficulty dealing with the boost. But look at the brakes there. Janssen can't really get on the brakes hard. It starts to wag the tail a little bit under braking for turn 4. I tell you what, that Lotus looks about half the size of that Camaro here.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. Neither of those cars are all that big, with that Lotus so small and nimble. Now take a look here. The top 4 cars in GT, the 2 Volvos, the Porsche, the Cadillac, all proven World Challenge cars. That Audi R8 in Sofronis' hands, that's a bit of an unknown. What's your take?
Well, I think they've done a lot of testing in the off-season, about 8 days. They've really got a good handle on the car. They've got great support from Audi Sport Customer Racing with Brad Kettler and Marcus Hasselgrove. James Sofronis is pumped up. He thinks he's got the tools for a championship run this year.
Well, he's showing he's ready to go. He's really starting to apply the heat to Johnny O'Connell. There it is, that beautiful Global Motorsports Group Mobil 1 Audi R8 LMS. Early going, your leader in GT and overall is Alex Figge, and in GTS, Andy Lee. We are back on the streets of St. Pete for the St. Petersburg Sports Car Challenge presented by StopTech. There is a look at your GTS battle. It is Andy Lee in that beautiful Crown 7 Bondurant Best IT Chevy Camaro. Second in the championship last year, being pursued by the guy who was third in the championship. That is Jack Baldwin in that StopTech Invoice Prep Motul sponsored Cayman. And up front, it is getting fierce, Cal.
It is, and what you're seeing right now are the overall leaders, the GT leaders, starting to encounter some of this GTS traffic. And around these streets, it gets really tight. Pope's now feeling the heat from Ryan Dial. Dial looks to the inside. Figge has spread these guys a little bit.
And you can see that traffic absolutely blunting right now. Both Sofronis and O'Connell, they tried to go side by side through that very, very tricky turn 10. Thought the better of it. And look at this scrap right now. Dial has the bit and Popes has a mirror full of Porsche.
Ryan Dial was fastest in practice, but having qualified third, he said, I'm okay with that. I'm going to wear these Volvos down. But right now we're on board with Sofronis. Look at him, almost trading paint there with Johnny O as they come onto this front straightaway.
Got a great run on him as we're on board with those GoPros on the splitter of that car, and I think he's got it done. Down to the inside, you see him hit that bump. got a little loose, but saved it, and he's through and picked up that spot. Boy, that is a bumpy braking zone down there.
Yeah, but he made it nice and clean. Johnny really couldn't fight back from that track position, though, that he was in. They see Pilgrim there now fighting his way through some GTS traffic as well.
And all of these drivers and cars putting the test to the Pirelli P0 slicks, and they are up to the task. Let's hear more from Rafael Navarro.
What we're most looking forward to is the feedback and the entry of some new platforms into the series, which has us on our toes as Pirelli, as the official tire supplier of Pirelli World Challenge. That says a lot of great things about the series. The series is growing. There's a lot of interest, and we're ready to capture that and also to give the drivers and the teams what they need moving forward. The driver response has been great. We've had a lot of positive feedback. You know, as a company, when you start asking us about where we are for 2013, we're poised to really make a big leap ahead. We're supplying over 250 championships and competitions around the world, and that's in over 40 countries. This year, we're getting ready to supply upwards of 720,000 motorsport tires to all these diverse championships. And one of the things that we pride ourselves on is being able to be adaptive and responsive to the needs of the drivers in each particular series. So we're really in a good position, and we're positioned for growth.
I think that's one of the reasons Pirelli is so exceptional on the racing and street front, is they embrace the policy of race on Sunday, improve for Monday.
Absolutely. Everything they learn on the racetrack is then transitioned over to their street tires as well. Look at this battle heating up for second. Pope's defending from Dial, but Sofronis is closing in. They've dropped Johnny O a little bit.
And they're in the mix of a bunch of this GTS traffic, and that's where this series becomes so fascinating. This now is high-speed chess.
It is, and what is allowing Alex Figge to do, our leader right now, is just gap these guys. He's not having to defend. He can run his lines, run his apexes, and achieve good lap times, whereas Pope's there is really just trying to keep that door closed on Ryan Dial, who's starting to look very aggressive.
Well, and that's the thing for Figge. Not only has he been a little fortunate when he's caught the traffic, but when he hasn't caught it, he's just worked it beautifully.
Well, you can suddenly get a gaggle of cars, you clear them, the other guys get bunched up, and that's enough. It gives you breathing room, you can then settle down. But look at this, Dial looks to the inside, on the brakes really late for turn 10, it's tight, he squeezes through.
Absolutely brilliant pass by Ryan Dial as he now picks up that second spot, and Popes now is put in the position of pursuer. And for Popes, not far behind him is that Audi from Global Motorsports Group and James Sofronis right there. So the roles, they just changed in terms of who the players were at this point, and we're watching this great battling. Now, keep in mind, there's some great battling going on in the GTS field, and this track puts a punishment on the suspension systems. Unfortunately for Andy Lee, he's running IBAC.
He is, and we're now on board with the IBAC suspension cam. You can see it working here over the bumps of the St. Petersburg course. It's really important to maintain that contact patch of that Pirelli tire to give you the grip and give you the lap time. So just great suspension at work here. You can see it bouncing over these rough concrete runways. Tremendous stuff.
Andy Lee continuing to lead from pole in that Crown 7 Bondurant Best IT Camaro. There's Jack Baldwin in that green Porsche, and that's that traffic. Sometimes the overtaking traffic can mess up the battle. And GT
they trade
bump
paint there. That's a trade of paint for the GTS lead. Baldwin wants through as the GT leaders came through.
Boy, and you can see Andy is doing everything he can. A little bit of smoke there from the back of Andy's car, I thought I saw. And up in front, you see the battle. That is O'Connell running fifth in the silver Cadillac. You could barely see Mike Skeen's Red Hawk Performance Corvette so close behind. And then this battle for the GTS lead.
Look at this traffic jam here through the kink. Andy Pilgrim forced his way down the inside between our GTS leaders. That was tight. Baldwin gets dropped a little bit away from Andy Lee because of that move.
And you can see that overtaking traffic can force you offline. Taggart awfully close to that wall on that Lotus. Here is your top four overall, and in GT, Figge, Dial, Popst, and Sofronis. And in GTS, it continues to be a strong run up front from pole by Andy Lee, then Baldwin, Lawson Aschenbach up to third, and Petey Cunningham sits in fourth. Today's coverage of the Pirelli World Challenge Championships is being brought to you by Volvo, designed to win on race day, designed around you. By StopTech, world-class brake components and systems for racing cars and high-performance vehicles on the street and track. And by the Bondurant School of High Performance Driving, internationally recognized as a leading authority on driver training, celebrating 45 years. The Pirelli World Challenge Championships are being brought to you by Motul, the official lubricant and brake fluid of the Pirelli World Challenge. By IBAC, the world leader in high-performance suspension. and by Kia Motors in the Kia Optima. It's not your average midsize sedan. And welcome back to the St. Petersburg Sports Car Challenge presented by StopTech. The CTSV Pace car has made its way out on track. We're under full course caution. The Motul Sparco Nissan of Rick Boucher had ended up having a problem while we were in break and was parked dead stick over at turn 9 for a little bit. So the pace car's out. The guy who's hating this moment is named Figgy.
Absolutely. It executed the perfect race. Had about a 6-second lead over Ryan Dial. Now Dial is right on his tail.
There's a look at the car as it was sitting there. It's now been removed, and we are about ready to go back to green. But now Dial, after that big margin, you can see Figgy is under big pressure from Dial, really pushing up against there, looking for the pressure. Here we go, watching for the start. There's the start stand. Boy, waiting. Figgy bringing him up slow. Watch, oh, and there's the green. We are now back at it here. And Dial, you can't even see that Porsche, Cal. He is tucked up so tight underneath. Safrona swinging to the outside. Dial, Figgy's wide.
He's wide. He didn't get the grip there. The tires aren't up to 10, but Dial is through for the lead.
I wonder if Figgy picked up some debris during that caution.
They have been teammates before. They're great friends, but Ryan Dial has shown no friendship right there. He wanted the lead of this motor race. Safrona's looking really racy in third. Dial clips the curb there. He's trying to get these Pirellis back up to temperature and fighting the grip.
Boy, I think you call that pounced on that opportunity. So Figgy right now in chase mode after having built a huge move. These cautions can affect the race so greatly, and Figgy now just needs to put his head down, and look at these two are already starting to draw away from Safrona's, who got a great restart, moved up into third.
Yeah, Figgy's going to be very frustrated. He just got to calm down. Look at this. Johnny O'Connell down the inside of Post for fourth. Pilgrim follows him through. Caddy's a big move.
Oh, and Popes had to give it up or he was going to get into the wall. So that was a beautiful move. And now look at that. It slowed up Pope's momentum so badly that Skeen is through in the Hawk Performance Corvette.
Wow, 3 positions in the space of 2 corners. Randy pushes it down, but he responds. Gets back on the power early. It's a drag race down the front straightaway.
That was a great punch and counter-punch combination, and Pope's able to at least salvage something in that exchange after that first lap from the restart. And up front now, it is Ryan Dial leading in GT and overall in the True Speed Porsche, and in GTS, still Andy Lee. Final laps about to unfold here at the St. Petersburg Sports Car Challenge, presented by StopTech, round 1 of the Pirelli World Challenge, and there is your leader, Ryan Dial.
Look at that!
But Figgy is all over him.
Dial defended that inside line that almost caught Alex Figgy out because Dial was on the brakes a little bit earlier, and it has allowed him now to gap Figgy a little bit down this front straightaway, but Figgy is really in it to win it right now.
Watch for the move to the inside. Dial senses it coming, moves over. Figgy going way down to the inside, but Dial able to shut the door, and even with their battling, the two of them able to open it up a little bit over Safrona's.
These two drivers know each other's game very well. They were teammates for many years in the American Le Mans Series and the Champ Car days, so they know their abilities, they know their strengths. Oh, look at this GTS lead. Baldwin down the inside.
Beautiful move. Can he make it work? Let's see. Lee. Oh, beautiful job by Baldwin.
Wow. Can he hold on to it? He's just been stalking Andy Lee. What a job by our veteran. Won on the streets of Long Beach last year. Can he get another street victory? Look at this. Cunningham's in the mix.
Cunningham and Gleason with that little bit of loss of momentum for Lee. They are all over the back of him. Meanwhile, up front, overall in GT battle, Dial, once he got out front here, is eased away just a little bit over Figgy, and Safrona is sitting right there. The three of them are by themselves.
Yeah, the Audi's looking very strong as well. This breather in the action has really bunched these leaders up, but right now, Dial, could this be the 5th straight race here at St. Pete that the True Speed boys catch the checkered flag first? 1 lap to go.
Here we go, final lap beginning. The 2 Cadillacs sit in 4th and 5th, and Popes in 6th, Skeen in 7th. But the battle for the podium is this one right here. Dial down into turn 1, one last time. In anger, Figgy right there, and Safronis is closing, Cal.
He is closing, and fortunately for Ryan Dial, he had enough of a buffer there to actually maintain the normal racing line through turn 1 and get good exit speed. He didn't have to defend that inside line, so right now, he's got to hit his marks and try and bring it home. Look at Safronis, he's really tight, Greg.
Oh, he is hunting right now. But a little offline there, and that may have cost him not too much.
He's going to push. He's going to push Alex Figge all the way for this next step on the podium. He wants more. Be a great opening round to this championship for Sofronis, but he wants the second step.
The interesting thing is, now that Figge's got to pay attention to that Audi in his mirrors, look at Dial. Gap at Dial, a little wiggle, though, down into turn 10. So he was able to hang on to it.
Same thing for Sofronis there. He was wagging the tail, trying to be really late on the brakes. These cars are used up a little bit here in the late going.
Even with that caution, they've been pushing hard. Now, here we go, the last run through. Dial has traffic, but he's got enough room. So Ryan Dial, the privacy star, Entrust, True Speed, Porsche, Bridgehampton Investments on board for this race as well, gets the win. Figge into second, and Sofronis in the debut for him in the Audi R8 LMS brings it home in third. So pretty impressive run right there by Sofronis and that team. Dial is enjoying this moment, to be sure. Boy, this team, this track, and Dial, amazing. Here's the battle for GTS. Callan Baldwin, that great pass, hangs on in the Motul Stop Tech and Invoice Prep. Porsche Cayman with Lee sitting in second in that Crown 7 Bondurant School and Best IT Camaro. So what a surgical pass Baldwin put on. Let's take a look at our results right now. The overall run order, it's Dial, Figge, and Sofronis your podium. The Cadillacs of O'Connell and Pilgrim 4th and 5th. Pope, Skeen, Welch, Dreesy, and Pappas. And then here is the rest of the GT field. Remember, Brandon Davis started, only did a lap. That was a stop, or start and stop basically, just to get some start points. He'll be back with us full time in Long Beach.
In GTS, Jack Baldwin, that late race move over pole sitter Andy Lee, grabs his second series victory. A great performance by Jumpin' Jack. Petey Cunningham, the defending class champion, rounds out the podium.
Yeah, Petey, opportunistic last lap for him to move up a couple of spots as well. So some impressive stuff by those guys. You could take a look at the rest of the field. Now let's take a look at our Cadillac CTSV move of the race. And it was a beauty. Dial using traffic as a pick.
Well, he said he had to grind down these Volvos, and he did it one at a time. First, he makes this move on Randy Popes, and obviously we saw the move later on the leader, Figge.
This is the key at turning point. Baldwin's surgical precision pass on Lee again, using traffic to absolute perfection. And then our Sunoco Hard Charger Award goes to the man who knows how to pass him, Tony Gaples. A great run in his Black Dog Speed Shop Chevy Camaro, moving to GTS this year. Great to see that as well. Let's get down to Jeff with our GT winner.
Well, first of all, great racing here at the Pirelli World Challenge Championship, and I didn't know what to expect. I mean, it's my first start here. I came in and heard it was rough and tough race, and it certainly is. I mean, 60 minutes of qualifying laps. Porsche was excellent. You know, we have a lot of guests here from Privacy Star, and you know, we really wanted to put on a good show for them in Bridgehampton and Entrust, but we got another one to do tomorrow.
He does indeed, and our Motul fastest laps, Sofronis and Baldwin in GT and GTS respectively. That's important.
It's really significant because your fast lap in race 1 lines you up for race 2 tomorrow on the grid.
And Jack Baldwin, as Cal pointed out, his second series win, one of absolute beauty, and he now is with Jeff Lepper.
Man, you lurked there all race long right behind Andy Lee. You made that pass. Tell us how you did that, Jack.
Well, I tell you what, Andy, my hat's off to Andy. He did a great job all day. I mean, he really drove that car well, and I knew I was going to get one shot and one shot only, and I kept looking and I finally got a shot on the inside. You know, I had to make it stick. Timing was everything. I was able to pull it off. But you know what? It was the great race car I had, and the hard work that I have watched go into this race car by Goldcrest Motorsports and Steve Ruiz and all the guys, the engineering and the hard work. So that's what I appreciate it.
For Jack, that's a home win. He was born and raised in Tampa, spent a lot of time racing on the streets here, and we've got more racing on the streets of St. Pete as we come back with race 2 and round 2 of the Pirelli World Challenge Championship in just a few minutes. There's a great look at a happy podium. Today's coverage of the Pirelli World Challenge Championships is being brought to you by Hawk Performance, Race Proven, Street Legal, by GoPro, the world's most versatile camera, and by Optima Batteries. With twice the life and 15 times the vibration resistance, Optima Batteries really are the ultimate power source. The Pirelli World Challenge, the most intense and unique sports car racing on the planet. Multiple classes running at the same time, but in a sprint format. Some of the world's top manufacturers and the world's best drivers, all beginning with standing starts. It is truly sports car wars. For series and event ticket information, check out world-challenge.com. To watch replays of all the intense action, check out world-challengetv.com. And always check it out, Pirelli World Challenge on Facebook. Today's coverage of the Pirelli World Challenge Championships is being brought to you by Grassroots Motorsports, the hardcore sports car magazine. By Privacy Star, blocks unwanted calls and text messages and lets you file complaints directly with the Federal Trade Commission. And by Racekeeper, the industry's leading video data logger, because Racekeeper helps you learn to drive faster. Hi, everybody, and welcome to round 2 of the Pirelli World Challenge Championships. It is the St. Petersburg Sports Car Challenge presented by StopTech, and we have ourselves a foggy, cloudy day for round 2, where today the Pirelli World Challenge Championships will be featuring their traditional standing start. Let's get things underway with our Pirelli storylines presented by Volvo. And first of all, big change in yesterday's results.
Absolutely, Ryan Dial got the victory here yesterday, but in post-race tech, it was found that the front splitter on that Porsche was a little bit too wide. He loses the win and the points. That is a big move in the championship and promotes Figgy to the top spot.
And Dial, even with the DQ though, able to keep his fastest lap, or second fastest lap per the rules with the DQ, and he will start in that position. The other big story, as you can see, huge clouds, possible rain.
Well, the Volvos will be loving that. The all-wheel drive will certainly be a factor if this track gets greasy today.
Let's take a look at our Motul race analysis. Starting grid, 39 cars. Once again, there's that look at the weather. And of course, if that happens on this track, it's a busy place with those concrete canyons all around it.
Yeah, it's going to be very treacherous, particularly the painted areas on this concrete runway here on the front straightaway.
But nonetheless, good crowd watching. Here is our Motul Pole Awards in GTS. Jack Baldwin had fastest lap yesterday. That gives him pole for today, and you do get points for that as well. So he gets the additional qualifying points. And in GT, James Safronis had that Audi absolutely hooked up late in the race, laid down a very good lap, and gets the pole as well. And those points, that is important too. So those that's where these guys are going to be starting. And of course, they've got a very hungry pack behind them as we get another look at that potential weather, and it is moving in.
It is moving in, and for James Safronis, he's a little bit nervous about this standing start. Remember, rolling start here yesterday. He doesn't have launch control on the Audi right now like some of the other GT runners, so he's waiting for that green light and going to wait and see what happens.
Yeah, probably not, especially if it's a little damp. Not looking forward to that. There is the Cadillac CTSV pace car doing the inspection lap as we are getting ready to go with the start of this race. Let's go to Rafael Navarro.
On behalf of our friends at Optima Batteries, StopTech Brakes, and Pirelli, drivers, start your engines.
I'm sorry, I just love to hear that sound. Those engines coming to life. It is fantastic. We've got such a global representation of world-class cars, and it is ready for them to unleash it and head her out for round 2 of the Pirelli World Challenge Championships. We're going to roll the grid across the top of the screen here so you can take a look at where your favorite drivers may have qualified as this field starts to set sail. As I said, today the traditional standing start, so they're being released on their final warm-up lap to install them into their grid spots, and then we'll be getting ready to go. Look at some of this amazing machinery, the Mercedes, the R8s, the Nissan GTRs, but up front, once again, James Safronis in that R8. That car and James seem to like it here.
They do. A very strong run here yesterday to a podium finish, ultimately finishing second with Dial's disqualification. So the GMG Audi certainly in good shape, but Duncan Endy, their boys had to do a lot of work last night. A late race engine change. They were up till 5 a.m. this morning getting that engine change completed with the Audi customer service boys. So they're ready to go, but a lot of work. There's a short break between a late race yesterday and an early one today, Greg.
And you know, Duncan Endy, not only from a driving standpoint, but from a personality standpoint, a great addition to the paddock. When somebody asked him about that, you know, your first start to have that, he goes, yeah, that's rather suboptimal. You got to love that. But this crowd is anxious. They know that this is going to be a big one. And the other thing today is there's not a race 18 hours away, as you pointed out, and there's a long break to Long Beach, so these guys can afford to take a few more risks, really go for it today.
They can put it on the line, and think about the different objectives here. Dial, he came out of yesterday's race thinking he had the championship lead. Now he has 0 points on the board. He's in catch-up mode already, just going into round 2.
And Randy Popes now needs to make up points. He's always aggressive on the streets. This is going to be spectacular. So we're looking forward to it. There is the Cadillac Escalade. That is our safety vehicle. Very, very fortunate to have that machine and that company helping us out in this capacity, responding should anything happen during the course of a race. So the field is about to grid up. As they do, we're going to step away for just a minute. We will be right back. Round 2 coming at you. The grid is set for the St. Petersburg Sports Car Challenge presented by StopTech, round 2 of the Pirelli World Challenge Championships. We're about to get this one underway, and so far the weather is hanging off. Time for our GoPro Kia Quad Box featuring the exceptional images from GoPro.
Going to be on board with a couple of the GS Class Mustangs, Artie Topi and Alec Udell. And in GT, you've got Peter Lasafri with his AMG Mercedes SLS and Mike Skeen in the Hawk Corvette.
Contenders all, so this is going to be fun to watch as we get this one underway. Round 2. Okay, the green flag flies at the back of the grid. That means within a few seconds this is going to launch. When the red lights go out, we go racing. Great to see the standing start once again in Pirelli World Challenge, and here we go. Oh, and Safrona's nowhere, and the Volvos, as usual, they don't start so much as they launch. They are gone, and Safronas is getting swallowed up. There goes Dial, one of the caddies, taking a look, not going to make it work.
No, they all got stacked up there at the apex, but as we suspected, Safronas would struggle a little bit with a lack of launch control on that Audi. Volvos just take it. Figgy straight to the front. DL now in third, looking for a way by Popst.
And that Black Swan Mercedes of Tim Pappas also got a tremendously good start, by my reckoning, up into 7th.
Look at Skeen now down to the inside. That's tight there for turn 4. Almost traded some paint.
Boy, close quarters racing, exactly what you would expect. Skeen, of course, is a contender, wants a championship, and there's Peter Lasafri in the Fusion Worldwide Green Hornet Mercedes AMG SLS, and that car has had some contact, Cal.
Yeah, he's got turned around. There's damage to the front splitter and front bodywork, but look at the caddy. He's trying to make a move on Safronas.
Gapping that just a little bit. Again, Skeen fighting hard. A couple of those others, Audis. And then you see the red and black one. That's Jeff Courtney running his complete own program this year in the Jeff Courtney Racing entry. Here is Lasafra trying to get righted, and we are full course caution. And it's go on board, Cal.
Here we are through turn 2. It gets really tight there, kind of a funnel down. And he may have got turned there, Greg.
There was a big pack of GT cars right behind him.
Didn't hear any wheel spin like he lit up the tires. Just looked like he just got turned.
Well, he's got it going and is driving back, but it looks like there may be some damage to that left front corner. Meanwhile, on board with Tony Gaples, and Gaples gets into the back of Richard Golinello's number 55 Grand Sanitation Ford Mustang. He ends up off course. A lot of action here in the early going, Cal, and we do, however, remain under full course caution, and that is some bad news. That is yesterday's pole sitter and second place finisher, Andy Lee. He's got issues.
Wow, that is a major, major turning point in this GTS Championship, and here we see Brandon Davis. This is what we expected. Just a start and park for Brandon as he really gets his program on full bore starting at Long Beach.
Trying to get some of those valuable points. Anything helps in this championship. Looks like we've got some pace starting to wind up a little bit, but before we get to green, how about our Optima Batteries best standing start? Brian Kleeman, 9 spots he moved up, rocketing up through the pack. On that first lap, just superb by Brian. So congratulations, those DXT clutches clearly hooking up.
And here we see Peter Lasafri has made his way back to the pit lane. I don't think that's an easy fix. Be difficult for those boys to get back into the action today.
All right, looks like we're getting ready to go and get back to action as they come through that very, very tricky high-speed chicane. Boy, when you have a problem there, it's not pretty. And the pace car, that beautiful Cadillac CTS-V, getting out of the way into pit lane, and here we go. Watch the starter as Figgy leading him up. Popst right there, and Dial just looking out. Winking out there trying to see what he can see, and we go green. And boy, I tell you what, Andy Lee still out there and laying a huge smoke screen out as he came down through the back. Figgy looking down to the inside. That was not on. He realized it. Now looking for a little bit better exit speed, Cal.
Yeah, he was a bit more conservative there down in the brake zone as the caddies go side by side through turn 1. He had a wingman, of course, in his teammate Randy Popst. DL sits down in third.
Those two caddies, those two of the world's best sports car drivers, so they can do that side by side. But look at Skeen, he got around Pappas, and now he is all over the back of Pilgrim at this point. Taking a look down to the inside.
That was tight. He had to use all of the curb there, otherwise he was going to get into that quarter panel of Andy Pilgrim. Pilgrim recognized that Skeen is quick. They ran in close proximity here yesterday.
I was talking to Andy, and he said that this weekend they've just been dealing with a push that they can't quite dial out of that car. And he said early in the going, when the car is heavy and the like on fuel, he said it's a little difficult.
And that really kills you on a street course. You really got to get the car turning in. Of course, you need traction coming off, but you can't get the car turned in. You just got to wait on it.
Meanwhile, we saw Popes just running a little bit different line there, maybe trying to get into Figgy's mind through his mirrors. But Figgy doing a brilliant job thus far, as he did for virtually the entire race yesterday until that late restart. And Popes right now, he's just focusing because he ended up having to defend a lot, and he let Figgy go. I think today he's just, I got to stay hooked up and stay with him.
Well, he's got to try and stay in his wheel track, literally, because, I mean, Figgy has been hooked up this weekend. Randy said, I'm learning from Alex. Looking at his data, I can see where he's a bit faster. They've been making changes to the car, and they're just trying to get that car dialed in to how Alex Figgy has his setup. Once Post gets comfortable, he is mean fast.
He is, and he loves battling it out on street courses and is exceptionally good at it. Now let's hop on board Andy Lee's Crown 7 Bondurant School Best IT Camaro and the iBox Springs cam. And you can see that suspension working. Calvin, we saw Andy smoking. If he's got a motor issue that's causing him power to stay competitive, you got to push that suspension even harder in the corners.
Well, he wants to get big points here today. He finished on the podium yesterday, so he's going to be digging deep. He's going to be pushing the car a little bit harder. This iBox suspension has to be working well, which it is. He's maintaining track position right now, so the car is still hooked up.
Yeah, it's working. It's just smoking a lot, and Gleason and Cunningham behind him are going to be a little frustrated. If there's any moisture in that smoke, it's getting on their windshields right now, and that's a serious visibility issue.
Well, the first thing you don't do is turn the wipers on, because there's a little bit of a mist in the air, and there's any oil there. That is a bit... Oh, look at that. Gleason having to defend down into turn 11 from Cunningham.
All right, the action continues fiercely in GTS. Up front, it's Figgy over Popes, Dial, and Sopronis in GT. And in GTS now, as Andy Lee heads toward the pit lane, it'll be Baldwin over Aschenbach, Gleason, and Cunningham. Today's coverage of the Pirelli World Challenge Championships is being brought to you by Mercedes-Benz and AMG Customer Sports. And by the Cadillac V-Series, the 556 horsepower CTS-V coupe, sedan, and wagon, the world's fastest family of cars. And by Honda Performance Development. The Pirelli World Challenge Championships are being brought to you by Audi Sport Customer Racing. By the Cadillac V-Series, the 556 horsepower CTS-V coupe, sedan, and wagon, the world's fastest family of cars. And by Ford. Go further. Action continues here in round 2 of the Pirelli World Challenge Championships. The St. Petersburg Sports Car Challenge presented by StopTech. And as you can see, once again, we've got that lead group of GT cars working its way through some of the GTS traffic, one of the elements that makes this series so exciting and challenging. And that is a scrum at the front, and they are working through another one, Calvin.
Well, it worked for Alex Figgy yesterday. Remember how he gapped the field through traffic? Today, it's actually bunched everyone back up. Alex is having to open that door first, and look at Dial looking racy on Popes there for second.
I think Dial gave just a little bit of the chrome horn there to Randy. Nothing hard, just letting him know I'm here.
Remember, he's going to be frustrated having that win taken away from him. Yes, he looks to the inside. It isn't there.
Oh, look at Sopronis.
Popes doesn't forget. He had that move made on him yesterday. Wasn't about to let it happen again.
Oh, and that onboard shot from down low on that splitter in that traffic is spectacular as they are working their way through. The two caddies, as they got into that traffic, the Cadillacs are in this as well now. Boy, this is a great scrum. But if you look up front, Figgy in that exchange in traffic, once again, Cal, able to gap him just a little bit.
Well, Popes had to defend from Dial, and that certainly cost him a little bit of lap time. And here we see Figgy looking down to the inside, dancing on the brakes. He's pushing hard. He wants to clear this traffic before he gets to that chicane area, turns 2 and 3.
Watch those two Cadillacs right now sitting in those 5th and 6th spots. They last season, in their second year, were still the hunters. This year now, they have become the hunted as they are manufacturer and with Johnny O'Connell Drivers Champions. Jim Verpilot from Cadillac says they're up to the task.
Last year was really about consistency for Team Cadillac. We were always there, ready to take advantage of a situation presented itself. Long hours, testing, preparation. That's how we're starting 13. The guys have worked hard in the offseason. They're excited because you get to defend a championship, but we were really excited about 12. And how couldn't you be? Drivers champion, manufacturers champion, you know, that's a perfect season. The car's basically the same. A little bit of rules changes, you know, no more rewards weight. So they've changed setups a little bit. It's just that constant evolution. Johnny and Andy won, just consummate professionals. We couldn't ask for better spokespeople for the brand. They're great with our dealers. They're great with customers. They're just phenomenal drivers. So we know competition's increased this year. We think that's great for the sport, great for the series especially, and we expect them to come at us. We got a bullseye on our back. We won the championship, but you know, our expectations are simple. It's just win, and we're here to defend the championship.
And that Cadillac program, through Pratt Miller, with the great help they get, man, they field some weapons.
They really do, but to be honest with you, Greg, talking to Johnny O, they haven't done a lot of testing in this off-season. And ironically, they leave here at St. Pete and go over to Sebring and do a couple of days testing next week. So what they've got now may be improved on by the time we get to Long Beach.
Well, that'll be interesting to see, because right now they're not in a podium position at this stage. But there is Sofronis as he sits right behind Dial. That's fourth and third, and then the two Volvos. And again, Alex Figge, when he catches some traffic, is able to get through it very, very cleanly. He seems to be very good in traffic. Some of it, as I said, is when you catch it, but he manages it beautifully when he does.
Well, it's also with that Volvo with the all-wheel drive, it gets the launch. You can literally park the car and then launch it off the corners, whereas some of these other machines, you need the momentum, you need the corner speed to take advantage. Look at this. Pope's got balked there by that GTS car. Dial's down the inside, takes second spot away. Can Sofronis come with him?
Oh, he wanted to, couldn't quite get it done, but again, Dial working traffic to his advantage, and Randy Pope's just losing out on that one. Uh-oh, that's Ernie Francis Jr., but that looks like it might be in an okay position to just let this thing run. It's really not in part of the lane where normally, and that's not a passing zone really either. It should be okay.
The problem is it's tough for the driver to get out. Remember the horrible incident we had? Oh, look at that!
Oh!
The Audi was in the wall there, probably looking in his mirrors, looking at the leaders coming up. Corny got cut out a little bit.
Oh man, there's a lot of debris flying around back there as well. Hope everybody got through it unscathed. As good as these Pirelli P0 slicks are, you cut them, you know, with debris on the track, it could be a problem.
Sofronis under the brakes there, really taking that in deep. The braking package is working well.
And it's still early days for that Audi R8 LMS. Sofronis must be grinning. Great run here. Currently up front and overall, Alex Figge still leads in GTS. Mr. Baldwin. It is still Alex Figge out front overall and in GT at the St. Petersburg Sports Car Challenge presented by StopTech, round 2 of the Pirelli World Challenge Championships. But this battle continues to be furious for the final spot on the podium. Randy Pobst and James Sofronis in that Audi having a great scrap. But traffic once again coming up, and that hasn't been too friendly to one Randy Pobst so far in this race.
Certainly not, and Sofronis is really just sort of like thinking about this. It's a chess game on these street circuits. You've got to set the guy up. You see Probst there getting the nice shot through that fast kink, flat out through there, but Sofronis has a fast car. He looks to the inside, dives down, nice clean move, takes the third spot away from Randy Pobst. Remember yesterday, Sofronis had the fastest lap of the race. He has a fast race car underneath him.
Well, certainly working in the brake zones as he was able to just get it stove down in there and then not have a problem exiting the turn, losing momentum, but he's a little bit wide there. He just carried more speed through that chicane than he anticipated. Couldn't quite get it turned to the apex, and Randy Pobst now gets a great launch in that Volvo off of that last turn, closing it up. See if he can make that pass work. No, Sofronis again, a little bit deeper into the Motul brake zone, makes that stick. You know, this series is about fans, and therefore the social media, world-challenge.com. Check it out for latest news and views on the series, or world-challengetv.com. All the cool in-car video, driver interviews. Watch this race and all the other World Challenge races. Facebook, search Pirelli World Challenge fan page, interact with other fans, post pictures, and finally on Twitter, join the World Challenge Twitter account at twitter.com/WC Racing. Instant updates on race weekends from the series. And certainly, Calvin, it looks like when it comes, oh, we've got some contact. That is Harry Curtin involved. I think that's Lou Gelati maybe. Oh boy, nice evasive move there by Taggart as he comes weaving through as our GTS race leader, Jack Baldwin, comes through. Overall, Figge leads Dial over Sofronis and Pobst, and GTS, it is Baldwin with Aschenbach, Gleason, and Cunningham. Today's coverage of the Pirelli World Challenge Championships have been brought to you by Honda Performance Development, by Porsche, and by the Fiat 500 Abarth. The second round of the Pirelli World Challenge Championships, the St. Petersburg Sports Car Challenge presented by StopTech, is winding down. But you'll notice Alex Figge all by his lonesome, folks, while we were in the break, Cal, a big development.
Well, Figge only had about a 3-car length lead over Ryan Dalziel, and then Ryan was very aggressive in traffic here. This is Mitch Landry, the rookie in the Mustang. Really not enough room there, and as you can see, immediately cuts down the left front tire for Dalziel, and that's going to be a visit to pit lane, going to cost him several spots.
Fortunately, he's got the True Speed crew waiting for him, and they did a very, very quick tire change. It got him out on track, but it cost him dearly in terms of track position. As we come back to it, there is Figge, and he continues now with that substantial margin, and that's just what you want late in the race. Oh,
contact down in turn one, the Motul braking zone.
That's Tommy Dreese in the Corvette, and I think that is the number 32, one of the Audis. Yeah, that is Brett Curtis. And boy, he's got damage as well.
Yeah, I mean, we talk about that Motul braking
right
zone, and this is the leader right behind them there. He doesn't want to see this as everyone's kind of gathering it back together.
And shards and debris flying everywhere on top of it. On board now with Alex Figge, watching him just trying to figure out a way through this mess.
It's a war zone out there. We're seeing parked cars, we've got smoking cars, we've got bodywork damage. Dreese gets out of the way. Here comes Figge up to speed down through this kink. He's got to watch that wounded Audi. It's right there at the exit of the corner. That was hairy. That was really hairy. There's more pieces, more delamination of that tire there as it's cut down.
Yeah, once again, starts getting caught up in bodywork and damage. Nothing can survive that, and at least it's staying on the car somewhat and allowing him to limp it around and bring it back. So kudos there, but a tough day. And Figge heading down pit lane. I wonder if he didn't get caught up in that debris, cut a tire or something himself, Cal.
There's obviously something to miss. What drama here in these final laps. I mean, Figge looked to be totally under control. No one in his mirrors after Dalziel's problem. And now the K-Pax team go to work. Looked like something on the right rear. I'm not sure if he hit a wall or if he has cut down a tire. Looked like I still got air in that Pirelli tire right now, Greg.
But struggling to get that tire off. Yeah, it looked like it had air, so I wonder if there wasn't some sort of damage underneath. Now they're bringing another
underneath
tire.
The wheel well.
Oh,
wow,
huge.
And all of this, think about it. Sofronis is going to be in the lead. He got by Post for third. Dalziel is out. Figge's now out. And this is the battle for the lead. Sofronis leads by just a couple of car lengths over Randy Post.
Boy, Post has gathered it back up. Able to maybe make some moves in traffic, got back to the back of Sofronis, and he is now within a couple of car lengths. The battle once again here in GT is on.
Look at the lead that Figge had, though. He's been parked in pit lane for about 20 seconds, and these guys just go by him. So he had this thing totally under control, but has gotten away from him.
And I know Figge obviously getting the win in round one, but getting it post-race intact, really wanted to bring one home clean on the track out front. This is going to gut that competitor big time, but at least carrying the banner for the K-Pax Volvo team is one of the best in the business in Randy Popes, but Sofronis leading in his debut in an Audi in the Pirelli World Challenge.
Well, can Popes bring it up to speed here? He doesn't look like to be totally comfortable with his race car this weekend, but when you get a sniff of a win, Randy loves that top step on the podium. Won 3 times last year. He'll be invigorated right now, seeing Sofronis is the only guy between him and another victory here today.
Boy, and a couple of guys doing a nice job trying to get out of the way. There's Landry. That's the car that Dalziel got into it. This time sees Popes coming, opens the door, lets him get through pretty unabated, but he did lose some ground.
Oh, he lost a lot of ground there. Probably a good 6 to 8 car lengths now, so he's got to battle hard, but his savior may be further traffic for our leader, James Sofronis. He clears Cunningham. Cunningham on the way to maybe another podium finish here today, and here's our current leader in GTS. What a weekend for Jack Baldwin, the street master. He loves this place. He loves St. Pete. Looking for 2 in a row.
He really calls it home. Born in Tampa, he said he loves coming here to race and really feels like he's coming home when he does, and he has put on an absolute clinic. But what a story for that Black Dog Speed Shop Camaro behind him of Lawson Aschenbach. First time these cars turned a wheel on a racetrack was the first practice session here. Every session Lawson has had that car move up in big chunks, and he said we're not developed yet when they were getting ready for this race today. He said when we get this thing dialed, it is going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, they're going to be a definite factor. It's a great little team, and running 2 Camaros, I think it's really going to work for Tony Gables to feed off of Lawson Aschenbach with setups, and certainly they're going to be a force to be reckoned with. with. White flag, 1 lap to go for James Safronis, but Popes is a lot closer.
Boy, is he ever. He has closed it up. Last time down into turn 1, the Motul braking zone, we've seen so much happen, and Popes takes away another car length. And before, we'd seen Safronis open it up under braking, Cal. Now Randy actually looks a little bit stronger. Late in the race, Safronis maybe has just used that thing up just a little bit. And as you said, Randy gets a sniff. He's going to go for it. Look at this.
Oh, really deep on the brakes. Randy wants this win. He wants it bad. Safronis is trying to defend. He doesn't want to make a mistake. Maybe a little bit conservative there on the brake zone for turn 4. Keep it nice and neat and tidy. The key is now getting a good launch off of this corner, turn 10.
Watch Ford. Safronis gets out of there strong. We hop on board with Randy, the GoPro camera, some of these great images, and that's the story. That's the race right there. On board with second, Safronis. Again, that's just the accordion effect, but it looks like Randy got through that corner a little bit better.
But Safronis did a great job as well. Excuse me, that was turn 9. They came off that tight one, down the back straightaway into turn 10. This is turns 13, 14. 2 corners to go for James Safronis.
Randy's going to try and jump on the throttle as early as he can, get those 4 wheels digging, but Safronis has the exit speed. The white flag is for other traffic. The checker comes out, and Safronis that close. Randy took a serious run at him, but Safronis brings home the maiden win for the Audi R8 LMS, the first win for an Audi at GT since 2004 when Michael Galati got it done, one of the old R6s. And Safronis wanted to do a little bit of a show. Looks like maybe the TC still turned on.
He doesn't have launch control, but he does have TC, and I don't think he's got it switched off. But meanwhile in GTS, Jack Baldwin look for his second victory on the weekend.
Oh, Baldwin, just the ultimate street fighter, one of the greats, and has done a brilliant job in that Motul Stop Tech invoice prep. Cayman and is going to bring it home for a sweep of the weekend, but Lawson Aschenbach and that Black Duck Speed Shop Camaro, oh so close. Very, very impressive. That team will be one to reckon with. And this, a brand new car bought off a showroom floor, turned into a race car by that Goldcrest and GT Sport team to great success. But in GT, it's Safronis, Popes, and O'Connell gets another podium, this time through some good fortune, with Skeen in 4th, Pilgrim in 5th. Take a look at the rest, and there you can see Alex Figge, the big story there, and leading late, and then having that problem. Now, let's take a look at the results in GTS.
Well, Jack Baldwin doubles up, but I tell you what, Lawson Aschenbach, a little reminder in his rearview mirror, this championship isn't over, buddy. And the veteran, 7-time champ Petey Cunningham scores his second podium of the weekend.
And there you can take a look at some of the rest of the players. You can see the return of Lou Gelati had a little problem today with that incident and dropped back just a little bit. And I think that's a good point for James Safronis. He did not have launch control. It was on pole, lost all those spots. That was a great comeback drive. Traction control working at the wrong time for the show, but that's all right. That's pretty good. But James made it down to pit lane, and he is getting out, and he's going to do some celebrating with the crew, and it is well earned, a very special moment for this team. There you see Jack Baldwin, our GTS winner, making his way down pit lane as well. Let's get down to Jeff Lepper.
I saw Randy where he was weak. He was pulling me out of the corner as usual, but I was pacing myself on the brakes and watching where he's braking every time. The Audi's incredible under braking. That's our advantage. And at the end, I used up all my tires and all my brakes, but they only need to last 50 minutes, and that's all I needed. And in the end, we had just enough to keep him behind. I'd get him under braking, he'd get me out of the corners. It was a seesaw. He got balked up coming out of the last corner, and then I just was gaining on him. And then when he had to get out of the turbo, my car was strong and right there, and I just had to time it. And I worked hard. I mean, I'm tired, but this is Pirelli World Challenge Racing. This is top pro sprint racing. This is why I've been doing it since 1994, and I love it. But this is great to get the first win for Audi in World Challenge. We love having Audi here. Audi Sport Customer Racing has been supporting us all weekend. Without them here, we wouldn't have been able to do it. And then the Pirelli tire, can't say enough about that tire.
It's all about the package, and he brought it home with a win. That's awesome. Let's take a look at our GT Drivers' Championship points presented by Volvo. Safronis now leads it over Alex Figge. Randy Popes and O'Connell essentially tied for third.
And in the battle for the GT manufacturers' points, it's Audi on top right now, tied with Volvo at 17, Cadillac in third.
And speaking of Cadillac, it is time for our CTSV move of the race, and it was this one, a beauty. James Safronis on Popes.
That was clean, but it was essential, really. He had to get by Randy, try and chase down the leaders. Ultimately, he couldn't, but they both had problems, and he gets to the top step of the podium.
It was awesome. Speaking of the top step of the podium, here is Jack Baldwin, who walked his way to the top step, and he's now with Jeff.
I had a great start, one of the best starts I've had. And, and then when I saw Andy go in the pits, I was like, well, my day just got a lot easier. And I got to tell you, Austin did a great job back there, but I got every good break in It was my day today, And, and I don't think he got any good breaks. So we kept that spread in there, and I just ran it out. But I got to tell you, yesterday the car was good. The guys went to work on it, and they made it better. And what we didn't have yesterday, we had today. So this win and both of these wins are for my guys, the Goldcrest GT Sport team, who have worked their tails off to give me this kind of race car that I can come out here and win these 2 races. It's an honor and privilege, and I'm thrilled. Thank you very much.
Truly all about the crews. Let's take a look at our GTS Drivers' Championship presented by Volvo Points. Baldwin with a big lead now over Aschenbach Cunningham. Andy Lee, that DNF today, hurt big. And Mark Wilkins there in 5th.
Let's take a look at the GTS manufacturer points presented by Kia. On top is Chevrolet, Acura in second, 5 points behind, Kia with 3, and 4 still to put points on the board.
And our Sunoco hard charger. This was a brilliant drive by Artie Topi in the Mustang. Started 38, came up to 24th in this stout, a GTS field. It was a classic day. The Kia turning point of the race, this was easy. Figgy out.
This was major drama. It looked like he had the race in hand, then some kind of rear suspension issue, I feel. You could see the mechanic there wiggling that right rear. His day was done.
Some small solace for Alex. He got Motul fast lap of the race. Baldwin in GTS. And our great crew has tracked down Alex Figgy back at the transporter for a word.
We led the whole race. I feel like it was one of the better races of my career, driving-wise. I was driving really hard, and it seemed to be pretty consistent and maintaining a gap out front. And then, obviously we had a part of the car let go. Just a few laps from the end, and that was that. Certainly nobody's fault, and parts break. But, crushing at the time, and this one will stick with me for a little bit. But what can you do except try to go get them at Long Beach?
And as we check out the Kia Rewind and look at some of the highlights and lowlights for some of the guys from the race, he brings up a good point, Cal. This championship, it's fascinating because it starts with not one but 2 great legendary street courses.
Yeah, it's going to be fabulous to get to the other coast and see what the boys can do on the streets of Long Beach. And there are 5 street circuits on the schedule this year. So if you're strong here, looks like you're going to be strong for the season.
And James Safronis certainly showed strong here, and Long Beach is his home race. He's going to be lighting the fuse there. And Jack Baldwin won Long Beach last year, so it's going to be interesting. Our next race for the Pirelli World Challenge is coming up at the streets of Long Beach. Tune in for the coverage. We'll see you then. Take care, everybody.